So in today's video I'm going to talk to you about how to charge more for your SMMA service, and to put it to you plainly, right in the beginning, is to simply just not do what every other agency out there is doing, which is kind of just once you gain the client or onboard them, the whole process of that is a whole other video. I've actually mentioned that before on my channel in a previous video I've done, so feel free to check that out. But once you've onboarded them, once you've signed them as a client, is to simply not just leave them and hope that you get them the results, and kind of not really have an idea of what you're doing. Keep in contact with them, make sure you know what you're doing, and keep that client communication, which is something I've touched upon before and is very, very important, and I'm going to go into more depth in this video. So I'll give you an example. There are many agencies out there that just gain the client, then leave them to sit and wait and hope for the results. They don't get feedback, they don't know how the agency is doing for them, what results they're getting. So by making the client know what you're doing for them and ensuring that you're doing it in the correct way and in the appropriate way, that way you can charge a lot more for your service and what it is that you're doing, whether it's lead generation, maybe you're getting them more sales, something like that. That is a way to charge more, by simply not doing what most agencies are doing right now, which is once they sign them, just leaving them and not giving them any ideas to how they're doing and how they're doing it really. So one way to do it would be by reporting, such as if you're running meta ads for them or any sort of ads or social media, you can go on the live update and you can send them a link, they'll click onto that. They will see the automatic updates and everything that's going on, so if that's the amount of leads that you're getting them, that will be shown. If it's the amount of sales, etc., that sort of idea, that is what they'll be showing you, and you can show them as to how far you're getting them if you're the service provider. Another way to do it is by client communications, that is simply keeping in contact with the client, making sure that you know where you're at with the agency, where they know that you're at with the agency as well. And let me kind of dive a bit deeper into both of these topics now. So the live reporting, or reporting in general, is a great way to actually track results and kind of keep the whole agency and their results in one place, and they can go into different platforms. I'm sure there's 500 different softwares for this sort of thing, but you can actually use it in in-house meta reporting if you're using meta, and you can report that to them. They'll see the live updates, they'll see what's going on, and that is a very key way to keep in contact and keep your clients updated with what it is that you're actually doing for the agency. As I'm sure if you were buying a service or having a monthly retainer or commission service and you were paying them, they didn't tell you what results you were getting, or didn't show you how they were getting it in the efficient way and the seamless way that the agency is doing it for them, I'm sure you wouldn't be too impressed either. So by keeping them updated, making sure that you know what they're doing, they know what you're doing, and everything is just so easy and so efficient when it comes to service delivery, but just in general when it comes to reporting for the company itself. And client communication is kind of just to keep them more on kind of the personal touch side of things, so just by checking every now and then. You send them a text, you can send them a video, a photo, or anything of that sort of nature, and by doing this it allows them to express any concerns that they may be having, as unlike with the reporting, they can't tell you what concerns. Of course they can through the reporting if their sales are not as high as they'd like to be, if you're not getting them as many leads as they were hoping. But like I said, the personal touch side of things kind of comes with the client communication, with the with the texting back and forth, with the videos being sent, whether it's you book a 3-weekly Zoom call or a 2-weekly Zoom call, you keep in contact with your clients and you know how to make sure that they feel that you know what you're doing, and putting that trust into you for them to do that needs to be addressed and needs to be one of the first things you get sorted. As if they don't have trust in you, they're not going to want to work with you, and by having that trust in you, they will, if you slip up once or if you're not getting them the amount of leads that they were hoping in the first month, they will be far more likely to want to stay with you, as you've already you've kind of already made that trust and built the trust with them. So they're more likely to not overlook, but make the mistakes not as predominant as they may be if you weren't to sort of first establish that. So establishing the trust by client communication is very important, and partnering that with reporting is a really great way to charge more for your SMMA service or lead generation, sales, anything like of that nature. So this can be applied into anything really. If you're doing website design or SEO or something like that, this can be applied here as well. But like I've mentioned, with the reporting, the client communication, they are both great ways to ensure that you are keeping in contact with your client. They know what you're doing, you know what you're doing and how you're going to do it for that particular business, for their particular industry. And that is all done through a clear and correct way to ensure that they know what your predicted results are, what you actually get them, that sort of idea. So that's really, really important when it comes to keeping the client happy, satisfied, and keeping in contact with them. So like I said, the video is about how to charge more for your SMMA service, and the other way to do it rather than just keeping in contact with them or reporting is to simply go above and beyond and do everything else that maybe they've worked with previous agencies, what they're not doing. So if they have worked with, this particularly works better if they have worked with previous agencies, as if you go over and above what they are doing, they will be like, wow, this really is a one-off. You know, there's no other service like it. We've worked with previous agencies before, we haven't gotten any results with them, but because these are doing so much, they are putting everything they have into the service they're giving us. That will be a way to show them that you are actually very different to most agencies, and you don't just onboard them and leave them and not have anything to do with them besides reporting their leads, besides reporting anything else. So one way to do this can actually be through reporting and client communication, just by keeping regular contact and staying in contact with them more regularly. That can be a way to go over above and beyond, but I'm talking more in the service delivery. So if you're running ads for them, making sure you're optimizing every last part. If there's any recommendations that come up through Meta, make sure you're trying to implement them. Or if there's anything that you think would be better to add into the campaign, you're not just thinking, well, we'll see how this one does. You do actually try, you put that last bit of effort into making the campaign, and it pays off. You get them the more results they're after. You get them all of the kind of expectations, and you're meeting their expectations, which is really, really important. You've got good service delivery, you've got client communication, you report to them, and you go over and above with your service delivery. All of these things combined together are a really, really powerful and important thing for running an agency, and just making sure that whatever you are charging your client, it's not going to be an unfair price, but it is more than most agencies, because you put more effort into it, because you do everything, you go over and above and beyond, which is a really, really important thing, especially if you want to retain clients as well. This can play a huge factor in retaining clients, as we all know. The more clients you retain, the more monthly income you have, the more client satisfaction they get, because if they're staying with you, that means that they like what you're doing. If not, they'd leave after the first month, 2 months, 3 months. If you're maintaining them for 8 months or over, then that means you are doing very well. You are having good client satisfaction rates, good retention rates, and by doing all of these things, so by reporting to them, by keeping in contact with them, by going over and above with your service delivery, making sure you're doing everything you can to optimize their campaigns, make their campaigns better than everyone else's, or more eye-catching, more intriguing to their potential customer, if that's the kind of thing you're going for. If you make more sales, more leads, anything of that nature, by optimizing the campaigns, making them better than everyone else's, going above and beyond, that is a great way to ensure that you can charge more for your SMMA service. You need to be realistic. You can't charge something that is way out of the kind of bounds of what is appropriate for the service. But if you make sure that you do get them the results, you're going over, above and beyond, you're maintaining the client communication, the reporting, and these are all great ways to make sure that you can charge more for the agency. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to take it one step at a time, and I'll see you in the next one.